after I was told the theme for TEDx, my tongue came to me like that, and I immediately remembered something I witnessed in 6th grade. I was sitting in art class, reading string, listening to the soft music the teacher was playing. Up and over my string went, up and over, up and over. The girl next to me and the girl across from her suddenly laughed and dragged me out of my work state. I go back to picking my string, up and over, up and over. I take a glance back to the two girls and I notice the girl diagonal from me take a light blue string and tie it around her neck like a necklace. Her friend laughed some more. Thinking she was taking it off, she undid the knot and tied it again very quickly, tightening that only knew she made it on her neck. Her friend became silent. Within a few seconds, the boy across from me and I were staring at her too. The three of us anxiously stared at her, waiting for her to loosen the string. But instead, she tightens it more. Her face immediately turned red, and as the pressure choked her, her friend leaned over the table begging her to stop, with red trailing down her neck. I was frozen in shock as my little 6th grade self witnessed what I was seeing. I thought about grabbing scissors to cut the string off her neck, but the string was just so close to her neck I would have cut her. But by the looks of the situation, I thought I'd be seeing blood anyway. We all inched closer to the girl as it felt that the time had stopped. The girl tried to gasp again, but it sounded like a restrained cough and she loosened the string. Let's just say I didn't focus much on my work after that. Self-harm could also be called cutting, but instead I used the term marking for a broader range. I came up with that term because no matter what type of self-harm, there was always some sort of scar. It could be a cut, burn mark, or smaller stomach, but there was always some sort of mark left behind. Now, when I say self-harm, I don't mean suicide. I mean self-harm. Yes, self-harm can lead to suicide, but some kids don't want to kill themselves. Some just want to feel the pain they might believe they deserve. Quoted from an anonymous teenage boy. Most people cut to die. I don't cut because I want to die. No. I can't leave a burden behind to loved ones. That's a sign of weakness. It's pathetic. I used to cut for satisfaction. Something about blood gave me excitement. Still does. The metallic smell, when it oozes out. All words from a kid our age. How does that make you feel? Creeped out? Disgusted? Terrified? What about him? What do you think is going through his mind when he is self-harming? Does he feel lost, hopeless, sad, angry? Think of your best friend. What if that was them saying that? I don't want to glorify marking. I want to show you that this is a continuous problem for kids our age. Now, it has been found that kids committing self-harm feel nothing. An Australian parenting website stated, for some people, the attempt to control or stop feeling through self-harm is actually a way of trying to heal themselves. Other people self-harm so that they can feel something rather than feeling nothingness or emptiness. The word numb is more commonly used by teens to describe this feeling. These kids just feel so much pressure that they eventually can't feel anything at all. And to them, self-harm is the only solution. Now, self-harm may be normally thought of as cutting, but that is not the case. Stated by the NHS Health Services, cutting, burning, hitting or punching yourself, poisoning self with tablets or chemicals, misuse of alcohol or drugs, purposely starving yourself, binge eating, and excessive exercise can all be ways your peers around you can hurt themselves. Now, did you know that 1 in 12 teenagers harm themselves? Which means statistically, 2 students in every classroom have purposely hurt themselves before. And that rate could lead to higher suicide rates. Yeah, I did say that self-harm and suicide are not the same thing, but more than likely, an individual will hurt themselves so seriously that they kill themselves in accidents. But think of your best friend. Now imagine them dead. Imagine waking up and not seeing them at school. You go home and find your parents crying, in a look of pain, looking at you with such sadness that you want to walk back out the door and not even think about the conversation coming next. Your parents sitting you down, placing hands on your shoulder, choking up. You don't want to imagine that, do you? I don't either, much less live that, because why should anyone live that? Well, they shouldn't, and that's the answer. Self-harm can become an addiction, even if the main reason causing the pain is long gone, but it's even worse when drugs are the cause of the harm. Marking is, again, any type of self-harm of any amount. Even just a little scratch shouldn't be put off. Some of the warning signs of self-harm are wearing long-sleeved pants in hot weather, drastic mood swings, or frequent cuts on an individual's body with no explanation or explanations like, the cat did it. Oh, thank you for your best friend one last time. But this time, thinking about not just hearing the news, but witnessing it. You just got back from lunch. They're smiling and walking back to class together. They stumble a little, then laugh because they tripped. It was funny, right? A couple more steps, and they collapse, wincing in pain. Now you finally see it. They aren't wearing that sweatshirt because they are constantly cold. They're wearing it to hide the cuts they made on themselves last night. The cuts that have now opened up, and your friend is bleeding out on the floor right in front of you. And they don't even have enough energy from food to help them stay awake because they starved themselves on top of that without you knowing. Administration is called, and the ambulance come, but blood flows fast and time runs short. I know some people quote that all scars are not on the outside, but they aren't all on the inside either. Thank you.